All right, it's a new day. Today is Black Friday of all days. So, inundated in the old email inbox with Black Friday sales. So, yeah, haven't done much with that yet, but, might do some computering later. Check it out. So, my gaps, all pretty happy with that now. That looks pretty good. Pretty satisfied. I did have one comment on last week's post when I was repairing these edges up here or getting them evened up and whatnot. One guy actually came up mentioned another method that probably would have been a little easier. Once I got this initially built out up in here so that it matched this, I then could have slit this back here a little bit and just worked this edge in an eighth. I think, in looking at it now, I think that would have been a hell of a lot easier. But, I just don't know what that would have done to this surface down here. Laying this over, would this change this angle a little too much? I don't know. So I went about it this way, pretty happy with the outcome. I'm now going to take and spend some time today using all metal. It's hard to tell, but there's a little lip here now where I put that rod in, and I'm going to fill this down to this edge with all metal just to even that out and, make it so it doesn't show anything weird in there. Then I'm going to come back after that's setting up. I'm going to take the trunk deck off to do that just to make it a little easier. But you can see here, if you look at my finger, there's an 1/8 inch overhang there. And that's what I'm just going to fill it in. Fill it in with all metal. That will hold it nicely. Then I'm going to come down through here and seam seal these gutters. I'm going to use the brush-on seam sealer in here, I think. Get that cleaned up, sealed up, so I don't have any issues there. I think that's the right way to go with that. So, yeah, I'm going to work on that for a while today. Still no frame. Toolbox, no frame. Yeah, still waiting on that. Apparently there's been some further delays at Scott's Hot Rods, so I'm still waiting. Like I said, it's Black Friday now. Starting to get concerned that they're going to call me like the day before Christmas and say, hey, it's ready, which would really suck. So I'm working on it. We'll see what happens. It's a long ride down there, and I want to make sure it's fruitful. So anyway, going to continue on to this trunk deck for today just because I have very little else to do. One other thing that I'm looking at here, and I'm going to try to mess around with, but I've been getting some really good, useful comments on the channel. So this door, I have it lined up pretty good at the top. Body line's really nice, and it seems to fit. It's out a little bit at the bottom and the front, but it seems to be out more at the back on the bottom. So I'm going to try to adjust on that a little bit. If anybody's got any great suggestions how to sort that out. So far, all I think I can do is if I go in a little bit with the door on the bottom hinge, so the door surface, go in, that'll help close that up. And if I come out a little bit at the top, I think that, it'll still close right in the back, but I think that should force the bottom in a bit by putting some wedge in it, for lack of a better word. So I'm going to try to mess around with that, maybe gets to that this weekend, but if anybody has a suggestion on how to adjust on that and make it perfect, that would be great. This one over here is fine. There's no issues with the way that one closes. I did stick the old door handles back on, just cleaned them up, put them on there because I was sick and tired of sticking my finger in the hole trying to push that paddle and pull the door at the same time. Kind of counterproductive. So yeah, I'm going to spend some time back here today, try to do a nice job on all metal, pull the trunk off, get this going, see what I can come up with, and then seam seal, and then seal it back up with epoxy. That's kind of my plan. So I might even do some all metal in here just to do an initial fill to get this gap filled up. Typically from the factory this was leaded. I'm not gonna lead it. I don't know anything about lead. It's just another setup I'd have to get into and learn. I think, you know, it's all welded there. It's not gonna flex or move. There's very little opportunity for it to do anything, and it screams out for all metal in my world. Also had another great suggestion that I considered. Go Garage talked about filling or adjusting, filling this area here that I'm going to use all metal on, and he kind of resculpted his with epoxy. That would also work. I think that's an excellent idea, although I do believe, yeah, I have the all metal. That's why I'm going to use that. And I'll show you how I do that when I get to it. But first things first, I'm going to rip this trunk back off again, put that on this body cart, body stand over here, and then start working the all metal. And I've noticed there's some contamination in the paint in here too. I'm going to sand that out before I do anything and just get that to a point where I can, it feels like there's metal filings in the paint. So I'm going to clean that up just because I don't want that rusting or giving me any problems in the future. I'll get that all squared away. And the other thing I haven't done yet, once I get my gutters all cleaned up and everything's looking good back here, one other thing I could do is try the trunk seal. I have it in a box up there. Haven't tried that on yet. But I was kind of waiting to do when I'm doing the final fit as far as contour and stuff. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to have at it. I'll bring you back when I got something interesting to look at. All right, this is the product I'm going to use. It's USC all metal filler. It's a very high aluminum content filler. It expands and contracts, and it simulates metal pretty well. So I'm going to give this a go, start working my way over in small batches, get that cleaned up, see what I got to do here, see how it goes. Okay, I just put the last coat of all metal on, and obviously I haven't cleaned it up yet. I will, once that sets up a little bit, I'll pull my tape out of there. I've also gone through and done the seam sealer around the gutters. So it should be in good shape there. And one of the last things I need to do is I'm going to clean this up a little bit. I'm not going to go crazy trying to make it all smooth, because all that will come when I start doing body work for real. But the all metal seems to be doing the deed. It filled right in nicely. It took a couple attempts, a couple coats just to keep it a reasonable thickness. But yeah, that looks good. And then once that's set up and I can scuff that and get it somewhat near right, I'll hit it with some more epoxy and just seal it up, get it ready to wait around patiently for the body work to start. So yeah, that's basically where I'm at. Okay, that's all finished up. I just sealed it with some epoxy. Like I said, I'm out of the black, so I have a dark gray that I used until I can get some black. But this will seal it up until we start body work. Again, all of this is going to get stripped down to bare metal on the outside, then a good coat of black epoxy, and then once that's done, we can start body work. But this is about as far as I can take this right now. I'm going to throw the trunk back on, then roll this thing aside and work on some other stuff until the frame shows up, or I get word on that. So yeah, this looks good. That came out great. That all metal worked beautifully. I have a nice crisp body line all the way around now. on the edge for the trunk deck opening. I'm pretty happy with that. I think it's going to work out great. So I will bring you back once I have it all sealed up and the paint's dry. I'm going to clean up a little bit right now and then get ready to start working on something else for a little bit until, give me 2-3 weeks on another project until that frame is here. Then it's full steam ahead. So anyway, just got to keep busy and try not to fall out of the routine. All right, there it is, all back together. I know this wasn't a terribly exciting video, but you know, just I like the way I did that. I ended up with a nice rugged steel bullnose edge that's not going to chip or bend or crack, you know, like it would be with just straight filler. And it, you know, I still got very good seams. So I think that method worked pretty well for me. Time will tell if it does anything weird, but I'm pretty happy with it. So yeah, still no frame, but we'll move on to working on some other projects while we wait.